We're back with another product knowledge story time, whatever you want to call it. And today we're going to be going over one of the OGs, Infidel Pork Rub. Quick little backstory. The seasoning was one of the original four. We had Willie Pete, Madu steak seasoning, Claymore Cajun seasoning, and the one and only Infidel Pork Rub. Now, this was all starting back in 2015 before the company was even established, whenever I was still going to college, trying to become a commercial airline pilot and realized that flying a school bus in the sky is pretty boring. We had the initial flavors done and we just had no idea what to call them. We actually started off with Madus being the first one, and the kind of thought process behind that is Madus had all the heavier granulates inside of there, so it's called a Madus. And then I was thinking about, as we kind of progressed down into other flavors, we could call it different firearm nomenclature, but at the same time that can get kind of boring, so let's spice it up and have a little bit of fun. Once we had Madus nailed down, it was a couple phone calls I made to dudes that I actually served with. Abraham was specifically the one to where whenever I said, hey, I have a pork seasoning, what do we call it? And he was like, oh, that's an easy one, Infidel. And I was just like, man, how did I not think about that? Infidel was kind of established in the name. We wanted to figure out, how do we translate that to where it actually correlates in between people who served in the military or are familiar with the word infidel, what that means, and the people who have no clue. And so for the people who have no clue, on the older label, we used to have right across the bottom a term meaning American greatness. That ended up getting this product kicked off of Amazon. There's three things that they were particularly upset about: is the cartoon character with the gun, drill your ass off, and then also label stating infidel, a term meaning American greatness, was apparently offensive to Amazon. Once they delisted that product, we decided to have a infidel sale. So with that infidel sale, we sold more infidel than I think we ever had, and we had a great time with it. We took a major loss by getting it delisted and turned it into a major win for our customers and the business. Now, with that being said, that's kind of the backstory on why it's called Infidel and how it came to be that product. Let's get inside of the product. For me, and in Texas, we're very, very big on barbecue and doing barbecue the correct way. And for a lot of Texans, that means no barbecue sauce. Sorry for anyone up north. Doesn't mean that we don't like a little bit of sweet and some sugar on our ribs. I thought of a pork seasoning. I wanted it to be one and done, just like the rest of our products. You don't need anything else other than the seasoning, unless if you want to get more complicated and complement it in different ways, right? We wanted to go off of a brown sugar chipotle pepper style. So that way you got the sweet, you got a little bit of heat, but we wanted to go heavier in the brown sugar. So as it caramelizes and you're smoking a rack of ribs, a pork shoulder, pork chops, you name it, this stuff's great on salmon, heads up, also hot popcorn. You have that caramelization that happens from the brown sugar. Another one of my favorite things to do with this here recently is actually making like a Korean ground beef. That goes perfect with like some fresh cut cucumber, carrots, and rice. Amazing. That's how we started. We actually used just legit plain brown sugar for a long time. We had a lot of issues with it clumping inside the bottle, so much so that we had so many customer service complaints of people thinking that it was already open, the seal was broken, nothing would come out, that we called them freedom clumps to help deregulate some of that. And as anyone in business, as you continue to grow, you start to learn new things. And one of the things was granulated brown sugar. I'd never heard of that before, which is basically a fancy way of saying dehydrated brown sugar. Fun fact, if you didn't know, the difference between brown sugar and white sugar is molasses. That's it. If you actually take brown sugar, run it underneath some water, it washes the molasses right off, you got white sugar. Don't know why you need to know that, but I just told you. With that being said, over time, we did update the recipe to have that, so that way it is free-flowing, as you can see here in the bottle, and you no longer have freedom clumps and have to beat the heck out of the bottle or anything like that. Dylan, what's your favorite thing to make with this?
Bacon.
Yes, and so I'm glad that Dylan said that because I did not even hit on that. If you've been to some restaurants or anything like that and they sell bacon for an astronomical price, or they call it $1 million bacon or anything like that, don't waste your money. Get you a bottle of this right here. The best way to do it is heavily season a thick cut piece of bacon with this. Throw it on the smoker. You want it to cook outside of its own grease. So ideally on a cooking rack or on your smoker's grate, indirect heat, low and slow. The slower and lower of a heat you get, the more of a caramelization you're going to get. I prefer mine 250 or below, 225 preferably if you're using a pellet smoker, maybe 205 on a big green egg. Offset probably 250. But this stuff will literally caramelize on that bacon. I like to do it right as the ends of the bacon start to get crispy and the center is a little soft. You pull it off, let it rest, and it'll harden, and you have the most amazing candied bacon. Now, if you want to take that up a notch, I do have an awesome recipe right here of candied bacon with Shiner Bock beer mixed inside of it. It's been around for 8.5 years now, and it's going to be around for a whole lot longer. All right, guys, if you haven't yet, please make sure to like and subscribe this video. If you are liking these product knowledge and, history of Grill Your Ass Off, make sure to comment down. Let me know. Let us know your favorite product, which ones I haven't done, and what you want to know just in general barbecue history and all that kind of fun stuff. Maybe we'll start going down that route some.